If you've been following along over the past few days as I've been sharing my family trip to Portugal, you may be wondering, how much does it actually cost for a family of 5 to have a phenomenal 8-day experience across Lisbon and the Algarve? Well, today we're gonna break it down. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Brianne, and I'm currently giving a peek behind the curtain of my 2025 travel extravaganzas. We've been talking about Portugal over the past few days, and I said, wait a minute, I need to give the people an understanding of how much this all cost. Now, there are a few caveats here that we'll get into later on, but let's just get into the context really quick. So we spent 8 days in Portugal, spent 4 of those days in Lisbon, and 4 of those days in the Algarve. Now, we did rent a car, one, because it just made the most sense economically, given, family of 5 compared to doing the Ubers and the train and all of that jazz. But also too, we wanted to feel like we could just see as much as we wanted across, especially in the Algarve, like going up and down that coast, but also in some of those neighboring cities near Lisbon. So let's get into this cost breakdown. Now, for the flight, I had a bit of an anomaly personally, myself and my sister Janae, because we were flying in from Greece. So I'm actually going to share the flight details for the round trip flight from Atlanta, Georgia to the Lisbon airport and back. So that round trip flight on Delta was $1,200. Now, this is going to differ, of course, depending on when you go throughout the year, but also what airport you're flying out of and what airline you select. But again, this is just me sharing per person, about $1,200 there. Now, the first Airbnb we went to was in the Algarve. This is the one that was definitely a bit older and had a phenomenal view of the ocean, and we walked to the beach every day when we wanted to go down there. So if you want to learn more about both of these Airbnbs, go back to my video, I think it was 3 days ago, where I shared things to consider as you are looking to book an Airbnb in Portugal. So more details there, but just want to give the cost breakdowns during this video. So 4 days, 3 nights down in the Algarve. It was a 3 bedroom. Yeah, it was a 3 bedroom Airbnb. So my sisters shared a room. I had a room to myself, and then my parents shared a room. That was $1,600. Now, the second Airbnb we had was in Lisbon. And also, by the way, in that video that I'm alluding to, the links to both of these Airbnbs are in the video description notes. So the second Airbnb, we did 4 days, 3 nights. That one was $2,500. Now, with both of these, I will say we are very picky when it comes to our accommodations. So you can definitely find some that are, more cost efficient, if you will. But for us, we really needed the space. We needed a nice kitchen. And most important thing for us was good location. So in the Algarve, being literally walking distance from the beach and getting to wake up and enjoy our coffee overlooking the water was very important for all of us. And then for Lisbon, really wanted somewhere that was central, but not too central where we couldn't sleep at night because the bars downstairs were making up a ton of noise. So yes, and I'll also add the second Airbnb in Lisbon. We did have an elevator, central AC, and just honestly the perfect neighborhood of Lisbon. So I'll add that caveat there. Now, excursions, we did plan on going on more excursions than we went on, but I think once we got to Lisbon, it was just everyone was just in exploratory mode. And also by the time we got there, especially in Lisbon, it was just there's so much that we can just see and do on foot. So the only excursion that we did do was the fishing trip, and that was $280. We did a morning fishing trip, and I will share that the biggest lesson that we learned on that trip was to make sure that you double, triple check. Are they going to actually clean the fish for you? Are they going to scale the fish for you? If you are going on a trip where they say that you can catch a ton of small fish, do you want to sign yourself up to do all that scaling and cleaning? when you get back home? I'm gonna tell you right now, the answer is no. There's no one in their right mind who wants to spend hours going through 100 plus fish, and then having your mother have to fry them. So that was a huge lesson learned. It's something that, we would do differently going forward, but it's a memory that we'll never forget. So $280 there. Transportation. So the rental car, we did not have it for the full duration of our trip. So we had it for a week, and then, we had it for a week, and then the two additional days in Portugal, we went by foot in Lisbon. So for a week, the rental car was $620. Now with the rental cars, you do need to make sure to be for real with yourself when it comes to how much space you'll actually need, especially with a family, and especially with a family of some ladies who tend to overpack at times, because the trunks, just the overall, when it comes to European cars, they are a lot smaller than they are in the US, and their inventory of the bigger SUVs can be very limited, even though we rented out of the Lisbon airport, which from the research I did, had one of the biggest inventories of cars in the area. So keep that in mind, if you are looking for rental cars. And then I'm trying to think what else. Ubers. So Ubers were super cheap in Lisbon. We didn't need one in the Algarve, obviously, since we had the car. But with Ubers, I came up to $35. So I did a round trip Uber from my Airbnb to my hair appointment, which was $10 each way. And then my Uber from our Airbnb to the airport was $15. So Ubers were not expensive at all. And this was also on the heels of being in Mykonos, where it was $50 to Uber a mile. So we were very elated when we got there and didn't have to pay obnoxious prices. So the total of all of this, you have your flight, Airbnb 1, Airbnb 2, excursions, transportation, and Uber, that came to $6,200. Now, the one thing that I did not include in this breakdown is food, and that's because there was no consistency in my transactions, when I went back through everything, and I don't want to misinform anyone, but I did have, from the transactions that I have in my phone, I have brunch, or I should say a breakfast sandwich and coffee was $25 for my sisters and I. So what is that, less than $10 for each of us to get a breakfast sandwich and coffee. When we went out, we went to this Thai restaurant that was so good in the Algarve. It's called Enna's, ENNAS. For all 5 of us, that was $100 US. But all in all, food was very inexpensive in Portugal. I will also say that my mom did a bit of cooking as well. So went to the grocery store. It was really cool seeing the Lidl out there, and just enjoyed some home cooked meals with, the spices and all the things that they already had in the Airbnb. We did actually buy some of our own, because there was some stuff that was unopened, and we were nah, I'm not doing that. But if you are balancing cooking and eating out, I will, if I could give you an estimate, I would say per day, we didn't spend more than $200 a day on food for a family of 5. So that hopefully gives you a sense of what to expect when it comes to doing a good mix of okay, we'll have, breakfast in the house, and then we'll eat out midday, or I don't know, whatever floats your boat. We didn't do any wine tours, which that was something that we originally planned, but I think we were just so in love with the vibrancy and the life of Lisbon that we were we'll just stay in here. I did want to share 3 recommendations really quick though. One of them, if you're an Amex holder and a Visa holder, make sure that you do bring your Visa, MasterCard, because Amex is not loved, not very loved in Portugal. I was looking through my Amex transactions, and there literally were none from August 2nd through August 10th while we were there. But all of my transactions were on my Visas. The second thing is, yeah, going back to a point I made earlier, make sure you're changing money into euros. I did my transfer at a Western Union. So I actually did not know this before the trip, but they do have a ton of Western Unions throughout Lisbon, and you can just get your money converted there. The third recommendation I had is just like, if you are looking to just save here and there, and at least one of y'all enjoy cooking, like it's actually a really cool experience to just go into the grocery stores out there and see the differences in what they have versus what we have in the US. And yeah, just, you know, adding some ingredients that you may find there that you don't have at home and enjoying that experience. But the wines were great. Like in Lisbon, I remember, no, in the Algarve when we went to Lidl, like the wines were all so cheap, and we were like, wait, but they're also really good quality. So that's something to look forward to, is like stock up on the wine in the grocery store. But yeah, all of that came to 6,200, and again, like on the safe side, budget 200 per family per day when it comes to food, and you're probably going to be over budgeting, especially if you're you know, having leftovers or cooking at least one meal a day in the house. But hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and we're gonna see. I think tomorrow's gonna be a bit of a wild card. I'm not sure if I want to do like video montage or if I want to do talk to y'all, but we shall see. And until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day.